Alright guys, welcome to the weekly interview. We've got Rovic and Tristen here. So, guys, tell me, which design teams were you on last week?
So I was with Wattbot. Our inspiration for the name was a scientist from the 1700s who pioneered the steam engine, which will soon be used in locomotives and some primitive cars later on in the era.
Tristen?
I was on the team with a robot named Modoc. Yep, Modoc. So it was named after a scientist who worked a lot with, he was actually the first one to work with a steam-powered locomotive.
Alright, so, what can you tell us about your robot?
So for a robot, we had a shooting mechanism that we found on YouTube. So we found this channel that makes robots in a 3-day time period. So we found that the shooting mechanism worked pretty good. So when we tested it, the balls landed at the same spot. So if we harness our programming skills to adjust the speed of the DC motor that we're using on the shooter, we would have better accuracy, and it would definitely be a win for our team.
Interesting.
So our group's idea was to have a robot that was good with using the more irregular shaped pieces, and so like the gears, because there are other teams like 360 who have been notoriously good with the ball shaped game elements in years past, and I'm betting this year. And so we'd be really valuable to teams like that if we could manipulate the gears, the more oddly shaped ones, super well.
Alright, so, talking about this week, I heard you guys were prototyping some things. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so we did prototype the shooter that ended up after our design night on the final robot, which was the Wattbot shooter. And so right now we are working on getting the encoders set up to properly spin it and keep it at a set rate, so that when we feed the balls through there, it'll shoot it into generally the same area, hopefully the exact same spot, but I mean, can never be that precise.
Alright, so what were this week's goals?
This week's goals were to have the CAD model done, as well as some sensors getting ready for the electronics, so encoders, computer vision, and ultrasonic.
So we are also working on educating our team more in computer science skills, since a minority of the team know how the program of the robot actually works. So it would be nice to have diversity in the field, to have more people enter the workspace and have more ideas to share, so that we can pinpoint mistakes out in the future.
Alright, so what were the things that you guys personally were working on?
Personally, as the lead programmer, I worked on the all of the sensors, along with having to work a lot with the prototype to get the encoders working.
So I worked with the frame of the robot. So we were cutting aluminum pieces to match the frame, and we're hoping to get it done by next week.
Alright, so talking about next week, what are the goals for this upcoming week?
This upcoming week's goals are to have the drivetrain done and assembled, and then hopefully the electronics board, so that we can start testing the drivetrain and get that programmed.
So we're also planning on finally educating the people, making them proficient and ready for the job, when we need them to.
Alright, and so how are you guys going to get those goals accomplished?
So we're going to have a good number of our people, since our team is a lot bigger this year than past years, working on assembling the drivetrain, having all the pieces cut out and ready, and then for welding on Sunday, which is tomorrow, and then assembling whatever else needs to be assembled. Electronics, same thing with that we have a group of people who, at least one person who knows how electronics works, and then 3 or 4 other people who don't and can learn through putting together the electronics board, and then testing.
Alright, so yeah. Nice having you guys here for an interview.
Yeah.